Hi there, I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Welcome back to 31 Days of Oscar on TCM. Up next, our lineup of Oscar-winning adventures about harrowing journeys through outer space continues. From Columbia Pictures in 1969, Marooned. The film is adapted from a 1964 novel by Martin Caidin, a prolific sci-fi fiction writer, including the novel Cyborg, which you might not know. It served as the basis for a television show you'll definitely know, The $6 Million Man. If you know Cyborg, you have every right to feel pretty cool right now. If you know Cyborg but not the $6 Million Man, then you have achieved the impossible. Well done. Marooned is a story of three astronauts stranded aboard a malfunctioning spacecraft orbiting Earth. Their oxygen supply is running out. They need an immediate rescue. The astronauts are played by three talented actors who all worked quite a bit: James Franciscus, Richard Crenna, and Gene Hackman. The bulk of Franciscus's work came on television, including Naked City, Mr. Novak, and Longstreet. He played the title roles in those last two shows. His best-known movie was probably playing the lead astronaut in Beneath the Planet of the Apes, the sequel to Planet of the Apes, which starred Charlton Heston. There is no denying that James Franciscus looked a lot like Charlton Heston. They play different characters, of course, but that couldn't have been an accident. Richard Crenna worked steadily across movies and TV for decades. He started on the radio while in middle school. His first big radio series was Our Miss Brooks, led by Eve Arden. To many, Crenna is Colonel Troutman from the first three Rambo movies with Sylvester Stallone. I am thinking this is the first time in TCM history where Eve Arden came up in one sentence and then Sylvester Stallone in the next. We're breaking barriers here. And then there's Gene Hackman, a two-time Academy Award winner, one of the finest actors ever. He'd just broken through with his Oscar-nominated supporting performance in Bonnie and Clyde from 1967. I haven't even mentioned the biggest star in the movie. That's Gregory Peck. He's the NASA commander trying to figure out how to get these astronauts safely back to Earth. One of my favorite actors is going to lead the mission to try to save them, David Janssen, just a couple of years after his run ended as Dr. Richard Kimball on the TV show The Fugitive. A lot of talent in this film from 1969, directed by John Sturges, also with Lee Grant, Mariette Hartley, and Nancy Kovac as the wives of the astronauts, and featuring Oscar-winning visual effects, Marooned. Marooned was in production during the height of the space race, and it premiered on the heels of Stanley Kubrick's 1968 masterpiece, 2001: A Space Odyssey. By this point, American audiences had grown accustomed to seeing rocket launches broadcast on television, and they had also just seen Kubrick's Oscar-winning special effects in his Outer Space Odyssey. The effects in Marooned had a lot to live up to, and director John Sturges was determined to make the film look authentic. North American Aviation, a supplier for NASA, provided some of the hardware for the spacecraft, and those were real NASA crew chairs used by Richard Crenna, James Franciscus, and Gene Hackman. The film premiered in November 1969, just 4 months after Apollo 11 made its historic landing on the moon. But despite the movie's relevance, Marooned wasn't a critical or commercial hit. It did, however, earn 3 Oscar nominations for Best Cinematography, Best Sound, and Best Visual Effects, which it won. Ahead for us, the space race continues in a landmark sci-fi film from MGM in 1956. Walter Pidgeon, Anne Francis, Leslie Nielsen, and Robbie the Robot star in Forbidden Planet. Next on Turner Classic Movies.
Next on TCM, Forbidden Planet. Then Anthony Adverse, and later, Mighty Joe Young. Go ape for Oscar tonight.